Oh man, people. Hello, people of Earth. We're live today. Why do I have 4 cell phones? Only like one and a half of which works. Because it's 2019, people. Like the internet is here. And it's like I really feel like a lot of people don't fully understand what the internet is. Cause it's these devices. Everyone thinks of the internet as like in a phone, in a computer. And that's the way computers used to be like 20 years ago or so, where like all the files had to be contained in this one thing. But we're not there anymore. We are on the cloud, people. And it's like these devices tap into the internet. And the internet has almost become this psychic spiritual force that's around us. It's this magic cloud that we can all tap into at any time for information or feelings to it's out there. The internet is crazy. And we access it with these devices all the time. Phones, you've all probably heard the statistics on phones, like how much we're all checking our phones. It's so frequent because the internet has become the infrastructure of every aspect of our lives. And like, why the hell wouldn't it? It's perfect for enhancing and expanding so many different things. But people check their phones too much, and it's making us anxious, depressed, and unfocused. Thankfully, actually, it's interesting to have this perspective, but thankfully, 2 weeks ago, my phone broke, or my main phone, because like obviously this isn't even all my backup phones. Like I have like a hierarchy of backup devices. But my main phone broke, and that's my main phone where I connect to like all these social media accounts, all this banking, some games, some other stuff, and having that phone broken has given me new perspective on life these past 2 weeks. I'm using Instagram less. I haven't had my alarm clock because I use my phone, and I have another alarm clock for it, but it's like just really, really abrasive. And it's like not wanting to check my phone all the time makes me more present in my life. And it's really fun to examine and think critically about my own phone use, because I use it to communicate a lot. I hit people up on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, phones, WhatsApp, Google Voice, all this shit. Why do I use so many apps to communicate? Why don't I just get everyone's phone numbers and call people? My friend Augie asked me that recently. Like, everyone you hit up on Instagram, imagine you called them instead. That'd be super different. I think I would probably wind up having more interesting conversations with people on the phone, because that's part of the joy of phone calling someone is you're speaking. And when you speak, your brain and the conversation flows differently than when you're typing on the phone screen. Oh, hell yeah. Gotta stay hydrated. But the phone shit is really interesting. Lately I've been going out to my friend's farm a lot. My friends have a farm about a half an hour away from here. And I've noticed something interesting whenever I'm on that farm. I never, ever think to check my phone. Because we're out there, we're having fun, we're in the sun planting flowers and planting beets and carrots and shit. We're playing with the dogs. We're sharing a joint underneath the shade of a beautiful oak tree. We are living, and we're connected with each other because they're building this crazy permaculture community out there. And I think that's such a huge insight. When I'm in an environment that I'm fully engaged with, I don't ever think to check my phone, because the phone is a crutch and some fiberglass insulation between you and reality, because we're uncomfortable all the time. There's all this bullshit going on in our brains that doesn't make us happy, and sometimes the phones exacerbate that, even as we use the phones relieve some of that tension, to help us deal with the discomfort of reality. Because it's like, I'm not sure people have really noticed this, but basically humanity has evolved as reflex, at least in technological modern societies. Humanity has evolved this reflex where whenever we feel uncomfortable, you whip out the phone to distract from that discomfort. And that's bad because dealing with that discomfort for real as people is important. Um, where am I going with this? Like, discomfort is part of life. And when you stop engaging with your discomfort, that affects other aspects of your life. It's not like your brain doesn't treat it like here's discomfort, here's happiness, here's this other thing. It's just like here is stuff. Here is the totality of my human experience. And if you start disconnecting from a part of that experience, you eventually start disconnecting with all of it. Because your subconscious brain doesn't really tell the difference between happy existence and uncomfortable existence. It's all just existence, and you're either engaged with it or you're not. That's why I enjoy Buddhist philosophy so much, because they accept that suffering is a part of life. The acknowledgement of suffering is such a core tenet of Buddhism, and that's, I think, why a lot of Buddhists are so calm, because they're like, yep, this definitely sucks, and that's okay. I think that's the problem, is it's this whole basket of things. If you look holistically at the way society deals with discomfort and engagement, it is a lot of just insulating ourselves from what's going on with the phones, with the technology, with the relationships we build. Because some people, a lot of people, I've had many people tell me like, hey, please just be straight up and like be critical with me. Tell me honestly what you think. And people don't actually mean that. I think most people like the idea of honesty more than they actually like honesty. And that's the problem. Our lives are not structured around the totality of our existence. A lot of people just want to focus on like the nice picture of beach day, the nice meal I had. Oh, look at this good feeling. But it's like, that's not how it works, people. Life sucks, and if you try to avoid the bad parts of life and only focus on the good, then you're not going to be ready when bad stuff happens. You do have to think positive. It is always important to be optimistic. I think optimism is a really important survival mechanism, because if you didn't have the foundational assumption that, yeah, I'm going to survive tomorrow, yeah, it's going to get better, this company is going to take the fuck off, I'm going to be selling snacks in space. Like, if I didn't have that attitude, it'd be really hard for me to keep going. So you have to be optimistic and realistic. I'm optimistic that things are going to get better, and I'm 100% certain that there are going to be some problems and some BS that I can't even conceptualize right now. And this all links back to the phones, because technology is human evolution made more tangible. We don't evolve biologically the way we used to. I think obviously there are some changes in our biological brains in conjunction with the technological advancements we've made. I don't know the details of that. If anyone does, hit me up, because I would love to talk about it. Like, let's get some academics and some scientists in here and shit. What was the point? Humans biologically are not evolving in the way we used to. We evolve through these devices, technology, like the pen, evolution, cups, evolution, paper, evolution, fucking all this shit is evolution. And that's the magic of it. And I think we're evolving through these phones in a way that is not necessarily the most beneficial, because we're evolving to insulate ourselves from reality, because reality by necessity includes some suffering. And like, all this shit, good and bad, suffering and pleasure, it's all just words. It's abstract concepts that I, on a certain level, do get in the way of everything. Because if you try to analyze everything, like, hey, is this suffering? Is this joy? Is this? And you categorize everything. That's going to become a new anxiety, and you really just have to accept stuff without qualifying it. And like the information economy on our phones and our digital devices is not conducive to that, because people are going to like what makes them feel good more than, I mean, there's like the anger and shit people tap into with clickbait and fear and anger and all that, but it's like, for the most part, we like what makes us feel good, and what makes us feel good, like honest assessments of reality often do not make us feel good, because if we're being realistic, we have to acknowledge all the shit that's going wrong, and people do not like to do that. Makes sense, really, because like acknowledging suffering is acknowledging pain. People don't like pain. That makes absolute perfect sense. But like not having a phone, or like having less phone. I'm not completely unconnected, obviously, because I have my backup devices, but having less connection to this digital shit has made me re-engage with my life in different ways. And there have been changes, like not using my phone for the alarm clock. I've just been sleeping until I wake up. And like, I am so blessed that I have a lifestyle where that's possible. Shouts out to mom and dad and fucking everyone. Shouts out to Sore Foods. Shouts out to all the people whose generosity and support helps me live such a free lifestyle right now. Because I can't take that for granted. There are so many ways my life could be different right now. And I have the freedom to like fuck around and try to build something that is going to create joy in the world. And that's beautiful. But I've just been sleeping until I wake up instead of having my alarm and like the snooze alarms on my phone. And I usually, it's one of my least favorite habits, where I snooze stuff for sometimes like an hour and a half. I'll set the alarm at 6 and then get out of bed at 7:30. And that probably bugs the shit out of my roommates. But I've just been sleeping until I wake up, and then I wake up feeling really well rested. And it's just interesting, because when I have this constant connection on my main phone, connection to all these like digital touch points, I am really fractured a lot of the time, and it does become super anxious, where I'm thinking about all these people I need to communicate with, and like these girls I'm trying to flirt with, and these projects I'm trying to get done. And it's a lot. And that constant connection has pros and cons to it. But I think everyone should do this, at least for a weekend. Just put your phone in a box, put that box in another box, and mail that box to yourself. So like 2 days later, you'll get a brand new phone in the mail. A little present from your past self. But like you have to do that, because I don't trust anybody who says they're just gonna like put their phone on their desk and not look at it. You got to remove that from your environment, or change your environment. This goes back to what I was saying about the farm earlier. Whenever I'm out at the farm with my friends, this is an environment where I feel fully alive and engaged, and that's why I don't check my phone. When I'm back in the matrix, though, Eugene, Oregon is a very lightweight matrix. We're pretty in balance here. But when I'm back in the matrix, I'm back in the suburbs. I'm downtown. There's FedEx and Amazon post boxes and parking meters and shit. When I'm back here, I get that itch again. I get the buzz. It's like, Jeremy, what's happening? You're alone. Gotta get on the internet and get some shit done. But that's not conducive to what is actually good for me and good for the people around me. And I mean, it's like, I'm not a Luddite, and I don't think we should destroy the internet. Partially because humans, like I said, we have almost evolved on this psychic level to live on the internet. That's pretty incredible. People don't really consider technology as part of ourselves, but technology is how evolution happens when our bodies don't evolve fast enough. And like there are a lot of physiological limitations of these things. But s- it's really important because the internet is taking over so much of our lives. We need to practice using the internet better. Just like we need to use cars well, we need to use music well, all technology. We just need to figure out ways to use it to create as much joy and as little suffering as possible. And I know that definitely contradicts what I said earlier about not qualifying things as joy or suffering, but people do suffer, and we can do our best to alleviate that and make the suffering as little as possible. And I think that's a good goal. Use the internet for good. How can we do that? I was brainstorming 10 ways to make the internet happier. I should read those out and do a video. But that's that, people. I guess if you're watching this on your phone, put your phone down and go for a walk. Get the fuck outside. That's your homework for today. And if anyone is watching this live, or if anyone really made it through all 16 and a half minutes of this ramble, thank you so much for being here. I'm Jeremy Cummings, and I'm building a company to alleviate depression in society. The tools we're going to use for that are food, music, and nature. Those are our three main weapons in this war on depression. So thank you for being along for the mission today, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Have a beautiful day, people. Oh, yeah.